In the Back of the Book segment tonight, race and politics in America. Bill O'Reilly recently spoke with renowned Harvard professor Henry Louis Gates about President Obama, racial politics, and how Gates achieved success despite the odds against him.
So you're at Harvard. You are an extremely successful American. You've written a book called The African Americans, Many Rivers to Cross. So you know the burden is harder on African Americans to succeed in this country than it is on white people. I agree. I believe that.
I believe that, too.
Okay. Shouldn't be?
For historical reasons.
But that's just the way it is. But it's doable. You're a success story.
My brother, Dr. Paul Gates, is chief of dentistry at Bronx Lebanon Hospital. He's 5 years older than I. And he was born in 1945, I was born in 1950. My daddy must have told us 10 million times, you got to be 10 times smarter than white boys. And my father worked 2 jobs for 37 years. People ask me why I multitask. I think it's in my culture and in my DNA, really, because my father did.
Wasn't that a bit racist, though? Because he's telling you that your competition is about skin color.
It was comport yourself with dignity. Think about what the stereotype that's walking in the room, disappoint that stereotype. And if anybody's a racist and is trying to undercut you, don't give them any reason to do that.
Let's talk about the first black president of the United States, Barack Obama. Are you happy with his performance in 7 years?
I think that he will be remembered for health care, bold, long overdue. I think opening up Cuba. I think that most Americans feel safer than we did under George Bush.
Really? Do you really think that most Americans feel safer against ISIS and this crew?
No, I think that we are all terrified at a level of religious zeal, if that's what you want to call it, that leads to behavior that most of us would find lunatic.
I don't know if the message that President Obama put forth to the world is a message that protects me and my family or you and your family.
What more could he do, though?
I think that he could, you know, and we discuss this quite often on this program, engage NATO to go in and teach ISIS a lesson that the whole world would see.
And do you think NATO would do that?
They have to, or they couldn't be members anymore.
Well, but I don't think that we could. Do you think that we could put boots on the ground?
I think that NATO certainly could establish zones that refugees would be protected and put enough force to wipe those people off the face of the earth.
I'm not sure you're right. You know what?
If George Patton could do it, and you know I wrote a book on him, you know, you got to be bold and fresh sometimes. Finally, in the economy, I believe that the collapse of the African-American family unit, traditional collapse, the out-of-wedlock birth rate, the absence of fathers among black boys, that is what drives down the economic profile of African Americans. Am I wrong?
There is a wealthy, aspiring, prosperous community.
Well-educated, and that's the key.
Well-educated, and that's key. But the problem is the cutback on affirmative action.
And I'm not opposed to affirmative action as long as it's based on economics and not skin color. That's the way I would do affirmative action. But I really admire your success because I know where you came from. But I want the message to get out to other African-American leaders and the folks that it's education, but this country will afford you an opportunity if you seize it. It's harder if you're black, but if you seize it, it's there. Last word.
I have absolutely no disagreement with you about that. But I think that because of what William Julius Wilson calls concentrated poverty in the inner city, that the odds of a kid like you or a kid like me ending up where you and I have ended from that environment, for all the reasons that you laid out, those odds are stacked against those kids, and we have to do something about that.
Always good to see you. Thank you very much for everything.
Thank you.